because then I can show you something. Because we're going to talking about this little game. Actually, not specifically this little game, but more like its new publisher, to be fair. Which is, as Strategy has informed me, well, today, to be fair, is now Paradox. It's like, wow. You know, as well as I know probably at this point, I do like Paradox and their games. I've played quite a few of them. I'm still playing quite a few of them, mind you. Including, of course, Hearts of Iron, Crusader Kings. Well, technically speaking, I still have far more hours in Crusader Kings 2 than I have in Crusader Kings 3, but still, technically speaking, you know, I've invested quite a few hours into Paradox, which is why I consider myself to be somewhat in the know when it comes to, well, Paradox and their practices, to put it mildly. That is kind of where we're going to start this. We're first going to start about what the fuck this even is, because, well, thanks to Strategy gifting me this game, we played this game on stream, actually, and I'm pretty sure I have already uploaded that particular stream or two to YouTube, should be. I'm not sure at the moment, but I'm decently sure at least. Let me see if I can find some music to run in the background. You know what? Fuck it. We're just gonna go with this one because this one is nice and relaxing. I always like to have that in the background. It's not going to detract much, let's just say. Okay, first and foremost. What the fuck even is this game? This game, Stranded Alien Dawn, is, and I'll be very blunt here, it's basically a RimWorld ripoff. I'm sorry to say that is precisely what it is. I spent at least the first hour of playing this game going like, wow, it feels like RimWorld with different graphics, and that is pretty precisely what it is. It is precisely that. It's not doing a bad job, and you know, if you want to play RimWorld with a very different graphic engine, well, here you go. It is blatant in its stealing, to put it mildly, but it works. It's not a bad game, and well, the last time we played it, there was like, I'm pretty sure it's still the case, like, yeah, one piece of DLC and then nothing ever happened. It was quite silent for this particular game. Now, well, this might sound somewhat negative to start off with. It's not a bad game, honestly. It's fun. You build your little base, you get attacked. I kinda dislike that there's basically only, you know, bug things attacking you. Well, I mean, yeah, then there came robots, which make it better. But all around, it wasn't really on a bad way, so to speak, you know? Because, you know, when you already liking the way RimWorld feels and plays, then you're probably going to look at this and go like, this could be fun as well. And honestly, it was pretty damn fun to play. As I said though, you know, just going off stuff like the menu and shit, yes, this shit is blatantly stealing from RimWorld. And there's not even a nice way around it. It is what it is, but hey. At least it was fun. For like a stream or two. At the very least. That said though, these motherfuckers, if my internet loads, I've actually done some things. Now, Jagged Alliance, I always thought Jagged Alliance ever since, you know, the second one was done, has been kind of gay, so, you know, not the best, but, you know, stuff like Tropico is probably relatively well known, so technically speaking, it's not like they don't have a nice little resume. I don't really know why they felt the need to steal that fucking much from good old-fashioned RimWorld, but, I mean, RimWorld was quite the phenomenon, so I guess, technically speaking, I can't really blame them for looking at something popular and going like, we could do that too. And they did. As I said, you know, not bad, but after I played it, you know, nothing has changed for eternity. Nothing new, no news, no nothing. Well. Stranded Alien Dawn joined Paradox Interactive family. This is kind of the news that Strategy has brought me on this fine day, and went like, hey, look. Even went so far as to say like, well, at least now maybe something might happen, finally. Yes, maybe. Now, if you know Paradox as well as I know Paradox, and the only way something's going to happen for this motherfucking thing is going to be an endless amount of DLC. Now, to be fair, as I said, technically speaking, I'm quite a fan of Paradox and their games. Absolutely. And in the past, I always believed that Paradox and, well, the fanbase of Paradox, a very niche fanbase to begin with, had a pretty classical deal going on. Paradox gives you something that is maybe a bit raw, but at least as far as raw steaks go, something you could eat. They gave you a basis in their core games that was absolutely playable. So long as that was a given, I, as one of the fans, was more than willing to pay them money for more of something I enjoyed. Hearts of Iron 3, for example, is a very good example of that. Hearts of Iron 3 was pretty fucking great. And, well, the DLCs made it better. Crusader Kings 2 did the same thing, and I have spent an embarrassing amount of money on the DLCs for Crusader Kings 2 over the years. I'm pretty sure I've long since passed the €200 mark a long time ago, and I don't regret any of that. In fact, Crusader Kings 2 nowadays is still the superior version of Crusader Kings, even compared to 3. I'll be quite honest there. However, it is also true that Paradox has changed over the years. I remember Imperator Rome, for example. Imperator Rome was basically Paradox attempt to go like, okay, so how shitty and how bare bones can we make something before our fans go like, no, fuck that, we don't even want this, and we're not even going to fucking, you know, buy DLC for that, because the amount of DLCs you will need to make that an interesting game would be ridiculous. And we know that you're going to fucking milk us for every last cent you can in order to get there. No. Thank you very much, no fuck you. Which is why Imperator Rome disappeared really quickly, even after Paradox had announced that they would, you know, start fixing shit. A few months later they were like, nobody's looking any longer? No? Okay, we're gonna very silently put it in the bin. So yes, Paradox doesn't really have the best reputation any longer, let's put it mildly. Like many other game studios, they have kinda became worse with success, which is a trend you can see quite often, so let's not worry about this too much. Instead, let's worry about this, shall we, a little bit more. First things first, Paradox has over the years tried to go into many different genres that are not, strictly speaking, you know, grand strategy games. They failed horribly all of the time. It never worked out for them. For some reason, they're still trying. I mean, to be fair, this case only as a publisher, which is still better than, you know, trying to develop your own games. However, let's not forget there's also the nonsense that Paradox is involved with Vampire Bloodlines 2, and I have not yet heard any sort of news that would give me any hope that this game will be anything but a catastrophe, to put it mildly. We have just recently played Bloodlines, the first one. It still holds up today. Absolutely genius game, no questions about it. I just take a look at some of these pictures, and just of the pictures, not even any of the articles that I've read, because of course I've read articles about this. Of course, I pretty much as everybody else have very much so looked forward to a new incarnation in the Vampire Bloodline series. Obviously, I look at this, and I can tell you this is going to be fucking horrible. Since it's not really the topic of today, let's not go too much into detail, but if you still hold any hope for Bloodlines 2 to be anything but absolute fucking dog shit, you must be the world's greatest optimist. I, for example, am not that optimistic, and I look at this and I go like, no, that's not gonna be anything. Now, back to topic, as I said, they have acquired the whole studio, which, technically speaking, not a bad choice per se. As I said, you know, it's not like these motherfuckers don't have a nice track record with stuff like Tropico and, well, technically Jagged Alliance, although Jagged Alliance has become rather gay since the second one. The second one was pretty awesome. Jagged Alliance 1 and 2. Honestly, I can highly recommend those two. They were cool. Really cool. And had some really, really awesome options for you, what you could do and enjoy during the day, but, well, the times are over, so let's not go there. But, well, Paradox now have them, and once again, Paradox is trying to do something that is, well, not just a grand strategy game. or getting involved with something that is not a grand strategy game, and it is probably going to suck ass. Very soon, on this list of, DLCs, you'll see lots of DLCs for a game that was already a copycat to begin with. Or you might be sitting there and thinking to yourself, like, I mean, at least we're getting something. I mean, that let alone the fact that they also, in bed with the Nouveau, which is already something that most people look at and go like, that's already a minus. Being basically, not doing shit at all for a long time is already a big minus. And now you're part of Paradox, who's notorious for their DLC policy. Well, that's another big minus. Where's the plus side? Oh, right. The plus side is that you're like RimWorld. But if that's the case, why don't I just go like, this? I go here, and I buy fucking RimWorld. And play that. In fact, I would actually highly recommend it. RimWorld is a great game. I have sunk quite a few hours into RimWorld. Absolutely not a game I'm that good at, but it's amazingly fun to play. You look at this very simplistic graphics, and it's amazingly fun, honestly. Point being, this game basically costs more than RimWorld, and it doesn't actually give me that much more now than the Paradox. If you still feel that there is any need to go any deeper, feel free. Feel free indeed, but just don't expect me to do the same thing. I also, found a nice little thing, because of course some people on Reddit are talking about this, and I was like, well, I rarely ever look at fucking Reddit, so why don't I see what people think about that? Shall we? Let's see what people have to say. So we worked on for a while now. Yeah, that's what everybody thought. Wouldn't this mean that there's at least a chance? That's how I see it. Yes, there is a chance something is going to happen. DLC-wise. For a lot of money. No, 80 DLCs in the rest can change from when you last played it. Yeah, there's a good chance for that. Ooh, Stellaris. Stellaris is always something when I talk about Paradox Grand Strategy games that I kinda try to leave aside, because I'm not actually that into Stellaris to begin with. It's not a bad game, mind you. He's not wrong here, our little friend here is not that wrong about it. In fact, he's actually quite right about it. Actually, can I make this a bit bigger so I can stop, having problem reading this? I can. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, your opinion is already basically non-existent here any longer, because, well, you dislike fucking Crusader Kings 2, so fuck you. And the monetization is indeed not. Yes. 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 The fact... Look at the list of DLC that Paradox is offering you. What would be a good example? Let's see if it still looks... Now nowadays, Crusader Kings 2 is free, which is great. You can get in a subscription service now, which I'm not a fan of, mind you, because, well, if you feel like you're not owning your games any longer, let's just say an expansion subscription is that, but worse. Now you're not only just not owning your games, you're not even owning the expansions any longer. But yeah, just looking at these prices, you can probably get a good estimate of this number down here that tells you that all of this now motherfucking shit costs you 300 plus euros. That's not a small amount of money. Now, in that regard, if you just want to test the game, then expansion subscription for $4.99 is far more reasonable than having to spend 300 bucks in order to just, get the full experience. So congratulations on that. Is it better? No, it is absolutely not better. In fact, I would still say this is fucking worse. And this is the monetization strategy of Paradox. It's not like they're hiding it. That's pretty damn obvious what we're going for here. I wouldn't actually, be too sure about the long-time support. Long-time support is only something that Paradox will afford, something that they think they can monetize the fucking ever-living shit out of. If this game has that potential, I don't know. They must have looked at this and went like, bit like RimWorld. RimWorld is pretty popular. Maybe we can make use of this. Maybe we can, you know, milk our people a little bit more. We'll see how that works out. Yes. Paradox has never been successful with anything outside of their own niche. That has never changed, and I honestly would not really... I would really love it if Paradox would stop. Focus on what Paradox did well in the past, you know? Create something, a base structure of a grand strategy game that is solid, that works, and that is already fun to play for at least a few hundred hours without anything else. Then we can talk again. Then I'm willing to talk about DLC again as well. Until then, I'm going to look at everything you put out with a very doubtful look. Yuck. Very gross. Yeah. Honestly, if you've known about Paradox as it is nowadays, and you like this game, then that is probably a pretty reasonable reaction. Let's see what else we have here. Transfer negations, yeah. Nothing new there. Because apparently, you know, since forever and ever in the game-making industry, it is basically the golden standard that everybody gets treated like shit. It's like, wow, what else is new? Wasn't it, who had that one scandal about the breast milk? Was that Blizzard? I'm pretty sure that was Blizzard. Yeah, that was actually fun. I enjoyed reading some articles about that. But well, pure treatment of QA staff. Low pay and poor conditions. Considering some of the shit they put out, yeah, I'm not surprised. Overconfidence and missteps. The Ryuji community struggles to overconfidence. Yeah, I can see that. Isn't this game delayed for like another time again? Even when this game will come out, it will be shitty. This company, Paradox, has thought for themselves that they could do no wrong. And even after having been proven time and again with different projects in different gaming fields and different gaming niches, they have not yet learned that no, outside of their own established niche, where they are indeed pretty well established and good at what they're doing when they want to be, Imperator Rome, see previous point, they just don't get it. Paradox face special for walking back forum rules, the ban ratio, I mean, for the most part, you ask them to be nice and you have a moderator team that makes sure people are nice. At least that's how it usually works. Unless, once again, you're Blizzard, because I remember that, because I was still somewhat involved with WoW back then. Blizzard once did the whole idea of trying real ID in their forums, which basically means that you would have to, under certain conditions, post with your real name attached, you know, last name, first name. Yeah, that didn't work that well. I think it doesn't care about personal opinions on who works there. Well, yeah, game development issues. There's Bloodlines 2. The game has been delayed multiple times. Another set. Initially stated for 2020, then 2021. Now expected to release in 2025. But from Hardset Labs to Chinese Room, due to concerns about the project corrections, yeah, the game is going to be a sucky mess no matter how you look at it. Cities Skylines 2 or... Yeah. Issue refunds for the first DLC and make it free due to its lack of content. And of course, you know, the game mode was also pretty damn meh. I haven't even played it. I played Skylines 1 for the first one before I could even, you know, consider getting into it. I just heard some bad things and I was like, yeah, you know what, let's wait until this is like 10 years old and then maybe I'll give it a try then. I'll leave it by you. The game was cancelled? Yes, it was. Paradox Chronicles also shut down. Yes. See another example of trying out a new genre and failing horribly. Prison Architect 2. Slayed indefinitively. Yes. Well, let's, you know. Let's just say that, you know, there are some allegations in here, of course. But fundamentally speaking, Paradox has more than enough problems already, and now they're still trying the same idiotic idea of ramming your head against this particularly wall instead of, you know, trying to go around it. Or instead of, you know, turning around, looking at all of the shiny things behind you and going like, you know what, maybe this is enough. Maybe these shinies behind me that I have already done, maybe I should stay with those. Maybe I should do more. Just that. Victoria 3. Man. I mean, it's better now. But, you know, if you start at the level of you're pretty much absolute shit, not even having a functioning fucking combat system for your armies, to go like, okay, now you have something, that's not much of an improvement, and it doesn't justify, at least for me, buying your DLCs now, does it? Absolutely fucking not. Oh, Paradox. Paradox announced a 90% dividend operating profit in its second quarter of 2024. 90% is pretty... 90% is pretty massive. That is pretty measures. And yes, Crusader Kings, especially Crusader Kings 2 with its DLCs, is fire. Crusader Kings 3 actually gets there. I've recently, while the internet was down, was playing a little bit around with Crusader Kings 2 again. And that kind of gave me the urge to, well, do a direct comparison and play a few hours of Crusader Kings 3 after that. And Crusader Kings 3 is actually getting there. It has quite a few options. It's still not as complete an experience as Crusader Kings 2, but you know, it at least is for a modern Paradox title, a very okay experience, let's say. Now, I think we have talked about this for more than enough. A point being, or well, in conclusion, the people who still haven't given, I mean, I guess at this point they're in too deep to actually give up on this project, but they absolutely should give up on this project. The people who, you know, have been getting away with this and had still quite a crazy amount of loyalty from the fans, including myself, mind you, are not responsible for this. But nowadays, this company is really not a company that I would trust literally with anything. Not even in their own chosen niche of gaming, namely grand strategy titles, because even then, they kinda have fucked up rather fucking hard, haven't they? Let's look at some of the shit in here, shall we? That one. I'm pretty sure I played at least a little bit of it and was like, ain't it? Victoria 3. Still sits as mixed, eh? Yeah, I'm not surprised. Really not surprised. $50 for that bare bones nonsense. That's below par. That's not acceptable. I'm sorry to say. Crusader Kings 3, okay, at least in this case, as I said, you know, with the DLCs right now, absolutely something worth. Imperator Rome, I'm surprised they still actually listed on their store, because you should absolutely take this off your store. It's not looking good for you. Just reminds people of how much of an fucking ass that was. Battletech. Battletech is pretty fucking cool. Okay, so it's not like Paradox cannot make good games. They can. Irony. That's one title I very much enjoyed playing. Pretty fucking good RPG game. Can highly recommend. In fact, we should finish playing it at some point. Hearts of Iron 4. There's nothing comparable, at least, that I have found that I enjoy nearly as much, especially because I can animify it, so, you know. Has some good things here. Technically speaking. And Victoria 2, of course. One of those games that not even Paradox had any sort of faith in, and then it kind of proved to be just fucking good. But what it did. In fact, it was complex enough that I still struggle getting all of the things in Victoria 2 running as I want them to, and I'm still not really that bothered by it. The fact that they kind of, you know, just only spit out like a few DLCs for it and then just went like, okay, this is over now. I mean, look at this. This is pathetic. This amount, this is pathetic for Paradox standards. Absolutely pathetic, in fact. Because, you know, compare that to Crusader Kings 2 and you're missing like $250 around. So yeah, this is what happens when they're not that good. And still, you know, people go like, this shit is lit. Because this shit is lit. This shit was indeed very lit. And if you go even further into the past, you know, Victoria 1 complete. People like it. Hearts of Iron 3. Honestly, pretty good game. Cannot complain. Absolutely not. Look at that. Very positive. For Iron Hearts 2. I'm not surprised. But oh well. Now with that, I do believe I have said enough. Conclusion, Paradox nowadays not to be trusted with anything, let alone something that is not, well, strictly in their niche. So, well, Look forward to Vampire's Bloodlines 2, shall we not? It's at least going to be fucking fun to laugh at. Not so much fun to play it, and very disappointing if you're a fan. I will make this prophecy right now, and I'm pretty sure I will edit this, make this into a video, put it on YouTube and years later when the game finally does come out, because, well, you know, I'm not yet convinced it will actually come out in 2025, after its many delays. Although, you know, there comes a point where you just have to, no matter what state the game is, and you just need to push it out because it's just eating money at this point, and you just kind of want to get rid of it, and probably get rid of the team behind it as well, let's be honest, yeah? So, maybe they'll just push it out, but, well, if it comes out, we will have a laugh at it. And I will tell you right now, it will be a catastrophe. I have not a single atom in my body left that would doubt that it will be disappointing. What that will mean for a Stranded Alien Dawn, hopefully nothing bad. As I said, the game as in and of itself is enjoyable, although it is absolutely a copycat of RimWorld in many, many obvious ways that you will very easily be able to spot if you've ever played RimWorld for like 5 minutes, so all is well in the world. All is well in the world. Just not really.